Everyone wants to do work that aligns with their values and makes them happy, but it can be really hard to find this. In this book, Designing Your Life by Burnett and Dave Evans, they break down how to do this. They call this process life design, and they teach an incredibly popular course about life design at Stanford University in America. And it was so popular that they had to write a book about it. And this book is all about how to build a life and a career that you really love. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Tintin, and this video is the first in a series about this book, Designing Your Life. I'm going to be going through every chapter of this book, and we're going to be designing a life and a career along the way. Bill and Dave, the authors of this book, are engineers, and they understand that everything around us, like electronics, like plumbing, and like furniture, were designed by someone, and they were designed in response to a problem. So there's a difference between a design problem and an engineering problem. In an engineering problem, you often have an optimal solution to work towards and evidence behind why you are doing that approach. For example, making the hinge on this Apple MacBook here. You're trying to find one best solution that is going to fix that problem, and then that solution can be replicated many times. However, a design problem is like trying to come up with the trackpad on this Apple MacBook, which when they came up with it for the first time, no one had ever done that before. There was no precedent to work towards, nothing that was necessarily going to work, and they had to come up with lots of different ideas, test them all out, and see what worked. And they draw the process of life design from this design process used in engineering. There is no one best solution, and it is exactly the same for all of us in our lives and our careers. There is no one optimal life that we could lead. There are many that we could lead that we will enjoy, and loads of different options that would work for us. It's about brainstorming as many ideas as possible, experimenting with a few, improvising as you go, and keep building your way forwards. Life problems are design problems and require this same approach of coming up with a solution that hasn't been thought of before. Your life is totally unique. No one has ever had your set of problems before, your set of circumstances, your thoughts, your genes, whatever. None of it has ever existed before, and you're trying to solve problems that no one has ever solved before. But they say in the book, when you're willing to think like a designer, and you're willing to ask the questions, and you're willing to always work towards a solution that has never been thought of before, then your life is going to be what you want it to be, and it's going to sparkle like it's never sparkled before. That's what they say in the book. It doesn't matter where you are in your life, how old you are, what your background is, what you've been doing recently. You can use these same principles that have been used to design amazing technologies in the world, like this MacBook here, and you can use them to solve your life and career problems. Maybe you've just left university and feel like your degree doesn't relate to anything in the real world, or maybe you feel lost or stuck already in your career, or maybe you're a bit older and you feel like it's too late to change careers. All of these problems can be solved by applying the process of life design. And that's what we're going to be doing in this series. But it's really important for me to note that all of this kind of stuff is really personal and highly contextual to your life, obviously. So I can share all of these principles and tools and techniques that they talk about in the book, but I can't give you advice for your specific situation. But what they do say is that if you use the principles and techniques that they talk about, you will generate the insights that you need to work towards a better future. But there are many versions of your life that will work for you and that you will love. So hopefully over the course of this video series, we're going to be helping you generate a few, or if you're already living a life that you love, then we'll hopefully keep it that way. So the first principle that we're going to be talking about from the book is the 5 mindset shifts that we need to think like a designer. One really important point that relates to all 5 of these mindsets is that designers don't just think their way forwards, they build their way forwards. So they don't just think about their future and imagine what things they want to be doing. They actually experiment with things, try things, reflect on things, write things down, and they build their way towards a better future. That is integral to the design thinking process. So the first mindset that you need is to be curious. Curiosity unlocks things that you've previously dismissed, and it helps you see opportunities everywhere in places that you hadn't seen before. So number 2 is to try stuff. And this is something that I've actually spoken about quite a lot on this channel before. You have to be willing to try new things and experiment, and most importantly, have a bias towards action. You have to commit to building your way forwards in life by gaining new experiences and things. And these first 2 principles, being curious and trying new stuff, is actually what drove me to starting this YouTube channel, because I was really nervous about doing it beforehand. I didn't want to put my face all over the internet, but I thought, no, I need to be curious. I'm curious. I want to see how this works out. And I also know that if I try it, I'll figure out if I want to do it or not. And after I started, I realized that I really loved it, and it's led to so many new things, and even actually a new job, which I'm gonna talk about in the future. But it's just that mindset that allowed me to actually start, which generated much more clarity in my life. The third thing is to reframe problems. So this is really important in life design because we have a lot of dysfunctional beliefs that hold us back in life. Like it's too late to change careers, whereas we can reframe this problem as it's never too late, I just don't have enough ideas of what will work. Or another thing that holds us back is that my degree doesn't relate to anything that I want to do in life. I studied classics at university, so I suffer from this problem, and that we can reframe that problem or reframe that dysfunctional belief as 2/3 of students graduate university and don't go on to do things that relate to their careers. Reframing our problems allows us to stop being held back by dysfunctional beliefs and allows us to see solutions in ways that we hadn't thought of before. And most importantly, reframing problems helps us make sure that we're focusing on the right problem. So instead of worrying about our dysfunctional belief, we can think about how to build our way forwards. The fourth thing is knowing it's a process. So this is another thing that I've mentioned a couple times on the channel. There will always be ups and downs in life, but if you are intentional with the way that you move forwards and with the decisions that you make because you have thought about why you're doing certain things and which direction you want to go, then you can afford to trust the process. You might take a step backwards every now and then, or things might go wrong, but the most important thing to remember when things do go wrong is to let go and move on. You can afford to trust the process if you are intentional. If you're about my age, I'm 25, then you've got roughly 45 years of work ahead of you. So knowing it's a process is really important. The final thing is to ask for help. So life design is about coming up with solutions to problems that have never existed before. As we said, no one has ever had my set of problems before, my circumstances, my experiences, my genes, etc. So we're trying to solve problems that have never been solved before. So that's quite a difficult task. And so bringing other people into it, our friends, our families, our colleagues, can really help us build our way forwards. They say in the book that life design is a team sport. So those are the 5 mindsets that we're going to need to be life designers and that we're going to keep at heart throughout our whole lives and as we go through this video series as well. One important dysfunctional belief to note as well, and something that holds a lot of us back, is that when we find our passion, everything's going to be better, and that if we don't have a passion, then we're useless. The problem with this is that most people don't know their passion, and a lot of research suggests that passion is the result of good life design, not the cause. So if you don't know your passion, you can actually build your way towards it rather than having your passion first and then trying to find something that fulfills that. I don't feel too passionate about lots of things, and I'm just trying to find passion in areas that interest me. So when you engage in these ideas of life design and in the rest of the ideas that we're going to talk about in the rest of the series, then you will find that your life will begin to change in ways that you didn't really expect, and things will start to appear that you didn't notice before. You can design a life that works for you and know why you've designed it that way as well. In the next video, we're going to be exploring this idea of starting where you are, because obviously you can't do anything about the past, you can only build forwards. So the first thing that you have to do in the life design process is think about where you are now and where you want to go. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. I'll leave it there.